Hey YouTube, Forever Red here with Team Reaper. Let's see. With Team Reaper, and we're going to do a rehash of our Altergeist deck profile just as a test video. So yeah, I just kind of want to test camera angles and whatnot. Let's see. All right. I know the last one was rather short, so we'll go in more depth. So we have one Multi-Faker. It's at 1. It's an amazing card. One Conqueror comes up so much. Being able to negate an attack and then like negate a field spell or problematic monster. It's really come up. And I'm glad I played at 1. Because it's super searchable. And yeah. 2 Silk. I mean, this card's just amazing. Like, it's a compulse for every turn, including your opponent's. It recycles your traps. It's just an amazing card. And there's no need to run it at 3 because it is recyclable. So yeah. Next up is 3 Mellowseek. Best card in the deck, or best monster I should say, in the deck. It can attack directly, send things to the graveyard, gets red destruction, protection, and stuff like that. It's pretty good. Next up is 3 Marionetter. This is a standard lineup. Sets traps from the deck, so you can swap it out or any other Altergeist card you control for another monster from your graveyard, which can extend your plays. This is actually a semi-combo control deck, so that can come in super clutch. And then 3 Droll and Lockbird for the Salamangreat and Spiral matchups, mostly. It's also good against some rogue decks and stuff, but I digress. Next up for the spells, we have our 2 copies of Lightning Storm in the main. There's many times where we have to go second. And already having this in the deck really comes in handy to stop our opponent from OTKing us, or if we're going up against the control matchup, we can wipe their board and then set up our own. 2 Duality. I know some people are running 1 of this, but every profile I've seen that runs just 1, they say they missed the second. So I'm going to roll with the 2, and I like it. And then 3 Extravagance. Nothing too crazy. Just a quick side note, I would not main a 3rd Lightning Storm if I had it. I don't have a 3rd at the moment, but I don't think I would main the 3rd. Just because there are plenty of situations where you don't want to see it. So, yeah. Just being as spoofing can't be removed from the field unless your opponent removes it for you. It's kind of, yeah. So we don't opt to main deck our evenly matches or Imperial Order, which I might change. They're on the side. But anyway, we have 2 Lost Wind, 2 Crackdown, and 3 Impermanence as our normal traps. Yeah, as our tech traps. I like these a little bit better than main decking evenly matched because I want to go first and set up a control style of setup and then combo off. So I leave the other combo pieces, the other trap options such as evenly matched and stuff, I leave those on the side just for that. And then we have our Solemn package, just 3 and 3, no warnings. Warning is inherently bad this format. The only deck it could possibly do anything against is Shaddolls, but they're splashing Invoked, so Magical Meltdown just makes Warning that much more useless. This is good enough to stop any special summon, as well as stop threatening spells and traps like Evenly Matched and Lightning Storm, and all of that. So this has been very good for me. And lastly, the Altergeist traps. We have 2 Manifestation, 2 Protocol, and 3 Spoofing. A lot of people only opt to play 1 Manifestation, but in my opinion, I think the second is really nice to have because you can leave 1 in the grave to be recycled with Soak at any time, and then keep cycling the other one back into the deck with Spoofing, and then keep setting it with Marionetter as you recycle your combos. So that's pretty good. Next up, let's go over to the extra deck. First up is the links. We have 3 Link Karibo and 2 Almirage. I think 5 is the perfect number of targets running Extravagance to link off with Metalseek. So that works very nicely. Next up is the 3 Hextia and 1 Prime Banshee. I mean, this is just your combo. I've never gone into this card. Yeah, honestly, I've actually found situations where I'd be down to just 1 card in my extra deck, and it would be 1 Hextia. I'd rather have that than that any day. Lastly is my optional package, and I run 1 IP, 1 Boral Sword, and 1 Avermax. I really, really like this package because you can bring Avermax out under protection or Boral Sword so that it can't eat a Lightning Storm, which is pretty good, and the rest of your deck should protect them well enough for you to OTK in that turn anyway. Okay, and lastly we have our Waking the Dragon summons, 2 Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, and 1 The Last Warrior from Another Planet. We do put those on the side. I've gone back and forth having them in the main, and honestly, it's good either way. Like it can improve matchups, really any matchup, because as soon as they see what you're playing, they're going to side in a lot of back row hate. And a lot of that's going to be like Cosmic Cyclones, Twin Twisters, and Evenly matches. I mean, the Evenly matches kind of suck, but I've done plays where I'll keep Awaking the Dragon face down to make them think that it's a Solemn or something, and they'll go to pop it, and then I'll proc my Waking the Dragon, and yeah. So anyway, onto the side deck. My locals is very competitive, at least the main one that we go to here at Team Reaper. So, I mean, you have everything from Spirals to Lunalights to Grand Maju Control to Grand Maju Golden Castle. Like, you just have a wide variety of decks, and all of them are super competitively built. So, a huge shout out to Rocky Mountain Collectibles for hosting such awesome tournaments all the time, 3 times a week. So it's pretty sweet. So for our sideboard, we're running 3 copies of Inspector Border. This is great in the combo matchup. It's great in basically any matchup that they can't just normal summon and link off into like a Link Karibo, or like in Solomon Great's case, this is pretty bad. Now, I mean, it's still hindering because they can just go into a Phalanx and use its effect, and that's the only effect they get. So it can be very useful in that matchup as well. Okay, next up is 3 Lava Golem. I like this over Spheremord or Nibiru just because, A, it's not a once per turn. It doesn't take up your, well, I mean it does, but we don't really need our normal summon. It doesn't take up a normal summon because it's a special summon, but you can't normal summon the turn you use it. So, I mean, opening multiples of this isn't bad just because we can bounce them back to our hand with Sokitis. Like, I've done plays where I'd go Lava Golem, set like a Spoofing and some other stuff, do my Altergeist plays on their turn, and I just bounce the Lava Golem back to my hand so that if they did make any kind of board, it was going to get rebroken. And I can just keep doing that repeatedly, which is really, really good. Next up is 1 Imperial Order and 2 copies of Waking Dragon. Yeah, I already explained why this is good. Being able to lock your opponent out completely. I didn't realize I got unlimited. Being able to lock your opponent out completely out of summoning monsters or just putting a huge threat on the board. It's just really hard to get around. Like if they hit Waking the Dragon with a lightning storm and you just do that, like forget it. Because lightning storms once per turn. I mean, I suppose if you open broken and have a lightning storm and evenly matched, not even then. I mean, I'd just keep the last warrior from another planet so you can't summon and just start beating you in the face. So yeah, so this is really good against most matchups. Sometimes in game 3, if I happen to lose the second game or the first game or whatever, I may side this out just to keep them guessing, kind of thing. Because once they see the Waking the Dragon, they may side out some of their back row hate. But yeah, next is our 3 evenly matched for the control matchup, for the break my board matchup kind of thing, and then to go with that is 3 summon limit. So this card's coming. It's just so good. Just so good. Obviously, Altergeist is a very, very flexible deck. I could take these 4 cards and easily swap these into the side. My problem with that, honestly, is that this isn't great in all matchups and it shuts down my draw power. This is only good going second. And at least with either of these cards, I have good options to slow my opponent down going first. And in the later game, because it's Altergeist and we play really long games, it doesn't just last 2 turns and it's over, typically. These give me good options to like, oh, I'll just steal my opponent's monster negate and link it off into a Boral Sword or an IP or something that I can use to OTK the game. To OTK my opponent, I mean. And then these are really good because we also have a tendency to play weenie monster beatdown. Just poke them with weenies all the time. I have literally won games by just doing marionette or beatdown. Like it's pretty crazy. Like the deck has a lot of different avenues that it can go with. But the main thing is that you just got to be able to control what your opponent's doing and stop them from trying to, well, stop you. So, I mean, obviously that's the whole point of the deck. I still feel that it's really strong, and I think it's going to be one of the, if not the strongest control deck going into Master Rule 4.5 or whatever you guys want to call it. Just because it doesn't need anything but traps. Like, if I were to pick 2 control decks to go into the next format with, I would pick either Altergeist or Paleo Frogs. And the reason I would pick Paleo Frogs alongside Altergeist is because Paleo Frogs actually does a different sort of control, and on top of that, Paleo Frogs isn't like it doesn't have an inherent weakness to Shaddolls, which is probably going to be the most popular deck at my upcoming regionals, which is just so happens to be on April 4th. Huge shout out to Mile High Comics for hosting that. But anyway, this is probably what I'm thinking about playing at that event. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's any changes that you guys can suggest if you're an Altergeist player. I'm still fairly new to the deck. I played it when it first came out, when Faker was still at 3. What I mean by first came out is when it got good. But it's been a long time, and I've been practicing with it, and I've done pretty well. Just not as well as I'd hoped. For anyone looking to pick up the deck, just a fair warning, this is the standard monster lineup, and sometimes you can go a game with only seeing one of any one of these, and I don't know about that being standard, but this is your monster lineup that you can use, and this is only 9 cards, or I'm sorry, 3, 6, yeah, this is 10 cards. So you have a 1 in 4 chance, basically a 25% chance of opening one of these. Yeah, which isn't super high. I mean, it's not super low, but it's not super high. But if it's the only monster you see because they asked your Meloseek or whatever, and you just can't get going, you can't find your spoofings, that kind of shit, it can be very rough. And those are definitely the games that I lose the most, is when I don't see more than one monster, which is kind of ridiculous, which is why I was like, okay, well, Paleo Frogs. The deck is strong and has a lot of combo plays. It has access to all of the best normal traps in the game. You know, not just like Lost Winds and the Paleo traps. It has access to like bottomless torrentials. Like it can really thrive playing things like that. So that's why I wanted to talk about that for you beginning Altergeist players. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time.